Why don't we start with your word of the day?
Adaptability.
Yeah, it seems like that's what we all need now.
That's true. We always need it. Listen, you go back to Darwin, it's not the strongest or the most intelligent that survive, but those most adaptable. And obviously, always important, especially important in times like these. And it means, consumers adapting to higher prices, businesses adapting their supply chains, and of course, investors trying to make sense of it all.
All right, so investors are obviously trying to adapt. I want to bounce something off of you. Evercore came out with a note over the weekend. Just looking at where the market sits right now. Again, S&P coming off its best week since November of 2023. NASDAQ, best week since November of 22. They say, in part, 80% of companies are trading at a discount to their 5-year average PE. That tends to be followed by a rally. A Trump pivot, D.C. unwilling to precipitate a recession, supports this week's bottom. And the S&P, they forecast, goes to 5,600. Agree with just the thesis, maybe not the number, but the thesis that we're kind of primed for a bounce.
Yeah, I think we're primed for a bounce. Obviously, starting points matter. The market has been trading at elevated levels for several years. So not surprising that we sold off significantly a couple weeks ago. But, in the short term, the rollback of tariffs is a positive for earnings. We're more
even if it's
the
temporary, or even if it's
temporary,
okay.
it cushions the blow. We're more concerned with the long term. And in long term, the erratic policy moves from Washington are not good for long-term investment or for multiples. And that's been reflected in the dollar and in bonds.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked a lot about the dollar earlier. But for now, we want to get to your pick for us. What is your pick for us today and why? So
I think it's a little early to go on offense. We remain on defense. And so we like utilities, quasi-utilities, broadband waste firms. As well. So the pick today is one of those companies. It's Republic Services, one of the big four trash companies in the U.S. And they've got a largely recurring revenue business, great conduits of inflation, almost half their contracts with index priced, and great margins.
Yeah. Shares are up about
buying back a lot of stock.
Yeah, it's a great pick for today. Shares are up about 1.5% right now. Very quickly, is this also a play on the idea that more is going to come back to the U.S. if you build things, if you do more production here, you're going to have more waste?
That's true. They are potentially a long-term beneficiary of the reindustrialization of America. But for now, they're a great place to hide out.